The Magicband Plus is finally coming out. We're very excited about that. There's been another fight. Who saw that coming? And we're going to talk about Disney's Animal Kingdom pros, cons, and what we'd like to see happen tonight on ParksCenter. Welcome to ParksCenter for July 24th, 2022. I'm your host, Rob Whiteside. Thank you guys so much for joining us on WDWNT-TV. If you have not already, please subscribe. We would appreciate it. We have lots of great programming for you on this channel, and it is the new home of ParksCenter at 9 p.m. every Sunday night. Also, if you could give us a thumbs up, we'd appreciate that. It helps people to find us. And also, if you are so inclined, feel free to super chat tonight, and we'll be sure to read your comment on the air live. With me tonight, a ragtag group of folks, including Mr. Patrick Hackett, who seems to be frozen. Is he? Good, cool. Coach.
Hey, how are you? Apparently I hate movies. It's game time. Let's do this. Patrick's not frozen. He's just really thinking about his next comment.
That seems accurate. Mr. Rob Bazemore.
How's it going, guys? Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, so I'm excited for everybody to be here. Oh my gosh, there he is, Patrick Hackett.
Kungaloosh? You go with that? Hi.
Where you been at, man? How's it been going?
I've been around. I was stuck in just a white screen purgatory, and I didn't know what was going on. But I'm here now, and I'm excited.
Yeah, no, that happens. It does happen from time to time. So thank you guys for being here tonight. We got a lot of stuff to cover. We're going to start with the Disney World, and first up, Magicband Plus is finally coming. I'm pretty excited about that. I have on me a Magicband 1 and a Magicband 2. One of the things I'm noticing, though, is with Magicband Plus is they keep getting bigger. Like it started out this small, and then it's got a little bit bigger, and that's usually the opposite, right? Usually things get more compact, smaller, more precise, maybe? I don't know. But this thing, we've been talking about it since probably September, I think. They're finally coming out. So this was September 30th, 2021. Breaking news, interactive band coming out. Now we've got this update that says, launches July 27th at Walt Disney World. And just a note to that is it's supposed to be coming to both coasts. They announced this the same time they announced that whole Hey Disney thing, which I still haven't seen anything about. So, Patrick, how many Magicband Pluses are you going to buy? All of them?
So I've been absolutely scouring Shop Disney to see what I was going to get. I'm definitely going to get one because this is what we were promised the whole time with the Magicband. There was going to be personalization, there was going to be interactivity, and really all it's been is a ticket. And occasionally, a fast pass. But I'm very excited for this next generation. I like stuff like this. These little pluses that make the experience better kind of distracts from all the stuff that they're taking away or hasn't come back yet.
Yeah, don't make me sad already. We just got started. So Robbie B, you kind of lean toward the West Coast, and I haven't heard anything about Disneyland finally getting these. It doesn't look like they're making any moves towards this happening. And honestly, I get crazed. Patrick, you just said it was a ticket. When I get out there and I'm like, make sure I have my room key, make sure I have my my pass, make sure I have all this stuff, I start to lose it all. But Rob, when are you guys going to get your act together out there? Oh, you're muted.
Speechless.
Are you really muted?
Rob is speechless.
I am not really muted. I think it's kind of an all or nothing. It's my understanding that Disneyland is working on kind of a pretty massive back-end upgrade that will also enable some of the Amazon stuff as well. So it's probably just taking the team, which is a much smaller team, a little bit of time to get things done. But I am looking forward to being able to use my Magicband on both coasts.
The one thing I'm really excited.
What is this?
Wait, what are you looking at there, buddy?
What? Why? What even is this? This?
It's called a ticket. And as a matter of fact, I love those. If you want to send it to me, I'll put it in my collection. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, you want that? That's fine. I bet you have a whole thing of paper fast passes, don't you? You have a collection, I'm sure. Don't lie. Really, what I'm excited about for Coach is for him and his entire family of, I think, 80. to have to charge all of these things now that they're going to have to charge these bands. So are you excited about that, buddy?
Yeah. We're going back in August. So oh yeah, we'll have them ready for you when you walk in. And my concern is, are they going to be charged when they're ready for me, or are you going to hand me a dead Magicband Plus, and I have to watch the tears roll down my children's faces and probably mine as well? So I'm hoping, I'm looking forward to it. I'm a Magicband guy that probably has a problem, much like Rob does with Magic Bands, but I forget who said it in chat. Said they brought up the charging part, and that's an important piece of it. I mean, we have 9,000 things. You guys saw me. I posted a picture in Discord about how my whole fan setup and the whole nine with the hat when we were out for the 15th. So we were charging things constantly, but it's one of those things where if it is attached to your ticket, then you got to go to your phone. So again, I just hope they're charged when we get there. That's my biggest thing, because we usually get there early, hit the parks, and then come back and check in. And if it's not charged, then
yeah, I mean, hopefully there's a backup to it. I don't know enough about it yet, and I think that in an upcoming show we'll definitely have kind of a breakdown of it once they launch on Thursdays of what we see about it. I know that they accidentally launched them a while back. Our reporters got a hold of some of them. Apparently Patrick did not. No. And when they did, they are interactive with the 50th Golden Statues. They're supposed to be interactive with shows, which we haven't really heard much about yet. And then also the Batuu Bounty Hunters, which we'll talk about later in the show. So it should be pretty exciting. But now, folks,
let's get ready to rumble!
Dude, that guy defends his copyright real seriously.
Yep, I just had a clip. It's fine.
Okay.
We cut it off. So anyway, no, you're right. He does. So there's been another fight, and I feel like we talk about these all the time, and again, we kind of go back to the fact that if you get into these fights, it's a lot of times it's just people are frustrated because they've taken so much away. Getting into a Disney vacation is hard with passes and Genie Plus and trying to figure things out. And I think people just get to a point where they just lose it. And I think part of that too is the whole idea that all of the time we spend inside because of that pandemic thing that all the kids were talking about, I think has made us a little bit less likely to be able to deal with people. Maybe I'm wrong on that. But there was a big fight in front of Peter Pan, which, I mean, how dare you? How blasphemous that they would have that in front of Peter Pan. But
Maybe
here's a little...
how overrated of an attraction it is.
Wow.
Good Lord.
Didn't think I was going to be the positive one on the show today, Rob, but...
So, Coach, is this how a vacation happens for you, or what do you think about this? What is your jump to on this one?
I mean, you got to keep your hands up, covered. No, I'm just kidding. No, I think this is just as things get more and more expensive, the pressure to have this perfect vacation. I've noticed it with a lot of families and I'm sure everybody has. The first timers especially, or people who haven't gone in a while, there's this expectation that we're going to have the greatest vacation ever. And I've seen more and more people with the shirts that say the most expensive day ever, and hashtag broke and all that kind of stuff. And there's all these shirts that reference how expensive the vacation's getting. And I think it's a pretty good indication of where we are. It's very expensive to go on vacation. It's very stressful. There's a lot of different hoops you have to jump through. There's different things you have to sign up for. And it just becomes more and more stressful. And unfortunately, my whole thing is, when you're in a situation like this, what do you think the best outcome is going to be? Like, you confront this family as they're walking out. What's your best case scenario in your head, right? And so that's something that I like people to kind of think about when they're in the situation. To me, it's like, I get it. They left, they got their phone, they came back. But compared to what, right? So someone walks in front of you in line. Is it really that big a deal? So that to me is kind of just, the frustration is definitely blowing over. You can see it. I see parents screaming at their kids and pushing their kids farther than they're used to. And it's real. I mean, it's not, I'm actually kind of surprised this doesn't happen more often. I know there was a criticism of security not being right on point, but I don't know. I see, unfortunately, this is not an uncommon thing.
This part of it looks like half the park versus half the park. Like this picture right here makes it look like everybody is involved in this fight, which again you don't want to see. I mean, I know that we're talking about it because it's news, but you don't want to see that. You want it to be everyone having a happy experience. So, Patrick, do you think it's because we have cell phones that we're seeing more of this now? Do you think it's because of the pandemic lockdown, or the pressure of the vacation, all of the above?
I mean, Coach almost took what I was going to say word for word, so really, really nice points there. I think, yes, the social media aspect of it is really a big thing. It's people whip out their phones. That didn't used to be the case, 20 years ago. There weren't that many camera phones capable of recording, and if they did, it was a grainy 3-second clip. It's sad. It's really sad. It's a sad state of humanity right now, and you can see how horrible it gets in our very own comment section. This keeps happening, and like Rob said, we have to cover this because it's news. I would like to see it stop, man. Take a break. Just, if you feel yourself getting there, take a break. Maybe we need, breakout rooms for people to go and just, woosah,
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I mean, we talked about this last week, is that they're going to be demolishing the Star Wars Launch Bay building in Disneyland, or at least that's the rumor, to be able to put in more seating. But it's an enclosed, quiet, air-conditioned spot that really would be a great kind of a timeout zone for kids and adults, really, to be able to go in and just chill out. And I think a lot of those hidden spaces to get away from it aren't really don't really exist anymore. But Rob, when you feel that white hot rage, what do you do?
When you said that space, I was thinking more of can we make it an octagon? We can put people in there. Disney can make it a pay-per-view, so there's a revenue generating piece to it. That could be the solution to all of our problems right there.
Okay. They kind of have that at Universal in the Kids Zone. If you've ever been to the Curious George section, where you get to sit up on the upper deck, load up the balls and the guns, and just shoot them at any strange kid you see walking around. Have you guys not done that before?
I had somebody pick me off with one of the water cannons on one of those rides. What was that, Jurassic Park River Adventure that has the water cannons that people can
No, it's
fire
probably
at?
Me Ship the Olive over top of the the Bluto's Bilge Rat barges.
I'm going to do that next time I go.
Dude, again, when I first went for the first time in there and saw that, I was like, why is this allowed? And clearly this is something that would never happen at Disney. But yeah, it's like these big guns that shoot these plastic balls, and you just take bags full of them up and dump them in the gun and just shoot them at anybody you want to. It's maybe
to your point, Rob. Just as a side note, as a little inside quote unquote baseball, most major league stadiums have a room just outside of the clubhouse or the where they walk in, and there's punching dummies, there's punching bags, there's guys if you ever see a baseball player strike out or have something struggle and immediately go down the tunnel and take usually a right, he's usually trashing a room in there, and that's out of sight of camera and video. So to your point, even those guys, you need to have a release, and I don't know that there really is one because there's so much pressure of go, 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 go. And this family had 2 weeks left of their vacation, and they got banned. So,
Yeah, and that was one of the things we didn't talk about, is that some of them were arrested and some of them were trespassed, and that is, I think, as Disney fans, our biggest fear. You could throw me in jail for 24 hours, and I would rather have that than you take away my right to go to Disney. Honestly, I would go, don't even have to think about it. Just 24 hours and cool down, or to have to never go back. That would be tough. So anyway, sad story, but again, it's one we had to cover. So we've talked a ton about Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. We talked about it a ton when it was first starting, when they first announced when it was going to open, the previews, and then the opening. And I feel like we might as well not stop. Let's just keep talking about it, because now they've installed a plaque in front of the starship, and it's as if this is the Xandar pavilion, and it says this from our world to yours, the Star Blaster is presented as a gift from the Nova Corps to the people of Terra. So Aw, so nice that they would do that. And I guess that's still part of the mythology that says, hey, this is why this pavilion belongs in Epcot, trying to justify it as much as possible. But there's more news because, thank goodness, Dave Bautista, Drax, actually got to go ride the attraction as well. So I feel like since they rolled him in there the week after they rolled out Gloria Estefan, I think we can probably expect to see one guest a week until the end of time that we get to focus on with this one. Patrick, you didn't get to ride this yet, but do you have thoughts?
I have not. Of course I have thoughts about Dave Bautista. I can't believe that he's made it this far, man. He does such a phenomenal job as Drax. I honestly didn't know if he could fit in the attraction. That's a big human being right there. Dude, the pavilion thing, I don't care that it's in Epcot. I don't care that it's taking over energy. I care that you're trying too hard and it's not working. Like, it's just... It's not. This dedication, especially when you just, with zero fanfare, unveiled the dedication to Stan Lee in Avengers Campus in Disneyland, just to kind of put this, I don't know. It feels bad and it feels forced.
Forced? What? You're crazy. Hey, let me stop because we got a super chat for $5 from the Trauma Factor. I've been lifting weights and taking boxing classes in preparation for my trip to Disney in August so I can get the full modern guest experience. Gosh, I hope that doesn't come to blows, but yeah, again,
keep your hands up. Keep your hands up.
Coach says keep your hands up. So maybe, hopefully, you at least got something from tonight for your $5 super chat. So thank you so much for that. We appreciate it. We appreciate you you being with us and for the super chat. Thank you. So, Rob, you haven't ridden this yet, have you?
I haven't, but it's interesting that Bautista was there because I believe that he's done with Marvel now, right? He's officially retired from the Guardians, so it was cool that he was there. I'd love to see him in person. He's one of the few Guardians that I think is just hilarious. It also says a lot to me that he stood up for something that he believes, even though essentially he knew that would mean his retirement. But no, in terms of the ride itself, unfortunately, my first trip to Magic Kingdom to Disney World is going to be in December, so I haven't had a chance to ride Cosmic Rewind yet.
Oh, bad news. It's going to be shut down by the time you get there, buddy. Sorry about that. It was limited time offering. It's in
B mode just the rest of the time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Coach, did you get a chance to ride it yet or no?
Yeah, we got to ride it. It really lived up to the hype. I was really surprised. I kind of felt like it, my wife had said this too, it felt like when we finished the ride, it was like it was just enough that we didn't throw up, but we definitely felt some queasiness when we got off the ride, and we're coaster people, so no spoilers unless you looked at it, but we didn't do any of the video or any of that stuff. We just knew there were different songs, and we got September, which I've been told is the best of the songs that are played. I love that song, so we were jamming out as we were going through it. It's a great experience. I mean, I was really impressed with it. The kids wanted to go on it again, and my 7-year-old, my 5-year-old went on it, and they rocked it. They got off, and my 5-year-old daughter was like, "Let's go again," and my son was like, "That was awesome," and I was like, "That was $80. We're gonna maybe go later." So, so it was one of those things where we had to do it, and we're going back again in August. So we're gonna take a family with us, so we're definitely going to have them. We'll see if they want to go on. It's one of those rides where you kind of go, maybe they'll sit it out, but we'll see. It's well done. It's well done. So, and Rob's muted.
I need this one to open up.
Breath away.
You did.
Your breath away.
You did. I really need this one to open up and them to do the standby queue soon, because it's one that you want to ride again and again. I would almost waste an entire day at Epcot getting back in line and riding it again. So I agree with you. One of the cool things that I thought is this weekend was San Diego Comic-Con, and James Gunn and the crew were on site, kind of showcasing the Guardians 3, and they were like, "Hey, miss you, Dave Bautista and Zoe Saldana." So I don't know if he's in Guardians 3. I feel like he might be.
I think he is.
Yeah, but then that's probably
this is the end of the Guardian story, Volume 3.
Gotcha. Okay, well let's move on to signs. Like we talked about this last week. Y'all weren't here. Where were you? No, never mind. We had the sad news that the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror sign that has been in the median for so long was pulled down. The big signage over top with the big fist pumping iron over top of the ESPN club, that's gone. They've removed those fun street signs, as we go through Disney, and now they've gotten rid of some more signs. And I know it seems dumb to even bring it up because it's just signs, but I mean, this is the wrong font anyway. It's the it's the sentence case Epcot, so I guess we need to go ahead and get rid of that. But they just removed them. They didn't put the new font over top of it. They just got rid of them. First of all, props to our reporters for noticing that. I don't know, like you're walking by and you go, oh, these signs are gone. I think a lot of times they can go, oh, that hedge has been moved half an inch to the left. We got to report on this right away. So again, a lot of detailed information that we give on WDWNT.com. But when I'm looking at this, it makes me sad because a lot of this is like, it's the Vegas of it to me. All this signage and things. Like, I always get excited. I'm sure you guys aren't familiar with South of the Border, maybe. It's a very outdated concept, tourist trap south of the North Carolina border. I always loved the billboards, like, on the way there. We didn't like the place, but we liked the billboards on the way there because there was just all this fanfare. Same thing when you are driving down 95, you get to I-4. When you turn onto I-4, there's those Disney signs that are right there, almost Burma Shave style. And then when you get closer to, like, Disney Springs and you start seeing the signs, like, that's part of it for me. And now they're pulling all these just little signs and things away. I mean, Patrick, am I way off? Is this just something silly?
No, it's not something silly at all. We talked about with the Magicband Plus that we like when they plus things. We don't like when they take away things. Now, if you took that Epcot sign away and replaced it with the proper font, that's great. I have no idea why the Tower of Terror billboard had to go. That's like heartbreaking. Like you said, it's all that anticipation. We always talk about, the parks, the show, the train stations, the opening credits, and you keep walking and you get more and more and more. And it builds up that anticipation, like you were saying. This is part of what separates Walt Disney World from Six Flags, from, Legoland, from wherever else. It's the immersion. It's being in the bubble. And I think we really need to grasp that concept and hold on to it, because I worry that it's just becoming another generic vacation place.
Yeah. Mr. Bazemore, thoughts?
My thoughts were, is it a big deal to us just because we know it's there? Would the new Disney customer, which seems like Disney spending more and more time worrying about, care about the sign? Or is it just us, right? Those who have used to and have, and are excited about seeing those things that we've grown up with. We'll see.
Yeah. Coach,
the question is, are we just grumpy old people who just want things the way we are, or is it really going to mean something to most people?
Yes. Coach?
Okay.
I was there. Fortunately, I didn't know about the Hollywood sign, Hollywood Tower of Terror sign going down, and I'm glad that I got to see it before it just got demolished like 2 days after we left. We were down for the 15th. This is one of those things where I think you've got people making decisions that are making decisions based on spreadsheets and numbers, and not really understanding, to use Jason Diffendall's, the whimsy and those types of things that we care about. You're going to, the way I heard it described, and I think it was Jason who said it, you kind of had like this giant sort of, cliff, and Disney is slowly sort of eroding away all of that nostalgia that's the dirt, and eventually that thing's going to fall off. And to Patrick's point, great minds think alike. It is getting more and more like Six Flags, right? You're not getting that. What's the difference? What's the change? And that it's not something you're going to notice right away. But if you're going to replace something, make it better, and don't just take it away and go, "Oh, sorry, we just decided we didn't like that font one day," and go from there.
It's all about the font, my friend. All about the font. Let's talk about the launch bay a little bit, because we had the BB-8 meet and greet. Some of our reporters, again, went back to take a look at the meet and greet, which is officially open. Darth Vader and Chewbacca, that has been a meet and greet that already was in soft opening. So, honestly, with launch bay, I really, it's a cute little meet and greet. I've actually gone and had my picture taken with BB-8 here. It's kind of neat. I wish there was more stuff like this around. But launch bay seems like wasted space at this point, and that's coming from a guy who is a huge Star Wars fan, because you've got Galaxy's Edge. The reason and the point for launch bay was when they built launch bay, it was to get Star Wars into Disney parks immediately, and that they would showcase the new shows, and there was some really neat stuff there. But just like the animation tour, this started out big, and it's been just, to your point, Coach, like you use the word eroding, it's been eroding away to almost nothing. The Jawas were a fantastic thing when you could go in and trade with them. That went away. I would love to see them either reinvigorate this, maybe like they used to have the drawing classes, draw a Star Wars character, I don't know, but like reinvent some things or reinvigorate something in this, or just go ahead and put something better here. Take advantage of that real estate. I keep saying this is where Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway should have gone. This is where they should have built it, because it's in the animation courtyard. It wouldn't have taken out the Great Movie Ride, and it's just not. I mean, there's nothing in there. So, I mean, Coach, when you went with your kids, I assume you did Disney Junior Dance Party. If you didn't, shame on you.
Oh, it's a Disney Junior party. All right. No, it's
now we're flagged.
It's definitely a situation where you kind of just. People almost don't even recognize, like, what is this? People that aren't familiar with it are kind of like, what is this? The park itself is not set up well, obviously, and this is just a glaring example of, it is great. When the Jawas were in there, you could trade, it was amazing, and then it just kind of went away. This could be an area that could be utilized a lot better. It's a giant space. It could be a people eater of some sorts. If you aren't going to reimagine it, then load it up with characters and just have people there for meet and greets. Try to spread some people out. When they were doing the meet and greets along sort of like that, where right before Star Wars Launch Bay there's that you'd have all the different Disney Junior characters. So you weren't even necessarily using it well, and you could have people in an air-conditioned room waiting to to meet with characters. So I don't know. I mean, right now I think they're using it for, if you have the Disney credit card, you can like skip the line and kind of go in and meet, which is a nice little bonus. But again, you had a situation where you have wasted space. I just don't get it. I think it should be used. Quite honestly,
yeah,
a little bit better.
And right now, if you look at this from above, you can see that there's the Star Wars Launch Bay, the Magic of Disney Animation is listed here, Voyage of the Little Mermaid, the Disney Junior Play and Dance, which I think is not as good as like the original like Playhouse Disney stuff that used to be there, and then this huge courtyard. And it does seem like it's a wasted amount of space in here that they're not doing anything with. But Launch Bay, again, like that's what we're talking about here is Launch Bay. Rob, do you feel like, I mean, the one, like I said, the rumor is in California they're going to be demolishing that building, which has been used for like 82 things. Do you feel like it's time for Launch Bay to go, or do you think that they just need to make it better?
What it feels like to me is they thought to themselves, what is something that we can do that will cost the least amount of money to make it feel like this building isn't abandoned? And then here we go. We have Launch Bay and a meet and greet, and it is taking advantage of an IP that has a lot of excitement around, but it's definitely a waste of space, and definitely you can tell that the intent here was just to do something without making any substantial investment. Hopefully, that space will be reused, because it is a great piece of real estate. Hopefully, they'll reuse it soon and do something more exciting.
Yep. In general, just to show our hands, who's a Star Wars fan here? Like a legit Star Wars fan? All of you. Okay, so here's the thing. When I've talked about Tron coming, I've been like, this is exciting. Tron is coming. I'm going to finally get Tron merch in my hands. Electronica was like that, the big festival kind of concert outdoor party that they had at California Adventure. But I want more Tron merch and things in my life, and I thought I wanted Star Wars merch too. And then Disney is like, they're getting to the point where they're giving me so much merch that I'm like, it's a little much. That's me talking. Like, that's me, and I have a serious Star Wars problem. But just looking around at some of the stuff that we've found this week, this mug, which looks very cool. It's it mimics the Doc Ondar artwork in here, which is actually artwork that was seen in the Emperor's like offices in the Phantom Menace. Then we've got this new tumbler, or that's a tiki style tumbler that you can get outside of Oga's, but it kind of has the Oga's feel to it, and they've just recently dropped some more of the coasters. Then we've got like these shoulder pieces, and then a bigger piece of like this Jabba the Hutt decor that are there, and then the Camtano. Like, I feel like I need the Camtano, but also this star compass. Like, I don't know. It seems like there's just a lot. And I don't know. Rob, is there too much Star Wars stuff? Not enough? Where are we at with this?
Well, I think we have to look through the different point of view. Unlike you and me, most people don't have 20 different things, right? So it's just a matter of bringing in new products so to increase the probability that new customer who comes in will buy it. So it's not it's not for us. It's not for those people who are buying one of everything. It's for those new customers coming in that they're trying to woo.
But you don't understand. I have a problem. And so when they put out more of things and I have some of those things, I need all of those things. Patrick, you don't understand that at all.
Free collection.
Right.
I think there are people who can help you with that problem, Rob.
Okay. Patrick is silent. He's thinking things over. And go.
Yeah. Sorry, I opened a drink, so I muted. I had to stop being a completionist because you see all those Deadpools behind me. Yeah, they just kept coming, and they didn't stop coming. This merch is pretty cool. Like, I like that there's a lot of different stuff because there's all sorts of different types of Star Wars fans. And some people want stuff that's very tangible to the series. Some people want stuff that's more representative of their fandom. And, like, some people just want, like, an all-out Star Wars decor, as I say with two lightsabers behind me. But it's cool because Rob, Dawn in the chat said it very nicely. You don't have to buy everything. You can pick and choose some of the things that you like.
I do. It's a problem.
Like, I really like Spirit jerseys, and I own 0 because they're too expensive and they make no sense for Orlando.
I mean,
they're awesome.
That's valid.
Great.
That's valid.
Yeah.
I don't have any either, but thank goodness I don't want Loungefly or Dooney and Burke.
Oh yeah.
And I'm slipping into Dooney and Burke because they put out some choice Magic Bands, and they ask a lot of money for them in return, which is fantastic. Coach, how many kids do you have? 3?
2.
2. Oh.
Yep.
When was the last time you checked?
It's 2. We're sticking with man to man. We're not going back to zone. So.
Nice. Don't let them outnumber you. Don't let them outnumber you.
Absolutely not.
So then when you go, you have to buy 2 of everything.
Yeah, but we do the old the sinister move where we usually buy before we go, so it's cheaper, and we pack it in a suitcase and then we give it to them. That's
my God.
No, that's.
Yeah, and then pretty cool said in chat that perhaps Rob, you should join Disney Anonymous. So, just a thought, might be something you can get some help with.
No. The first step is admitting you have a problem. I've admitted it. I'm not ready to stop though. But again, there's just a lot of stuff when I'm looking out at it with the Star Wars stuff. But the Camtano, that's going to be the one that it's going to be hard for me not to get, and I don't need it. But it looks fantastic. So
yeah.
I kind of feel like that has to happen at some point. Speaking of merch, there is a new. I want to say new gift shop, and it is Jesse's Trading Post. We heard an announcement that says, "Hey, Jesse's Trading Post is coming to what seemed to be an unfinished Toy Story Land," and so they had made an ad hoc store at the end of Toy Story when you would ride the ride, and now they've actually themed it, which looks very cool, the theming, honestly, to Jesse's. But I mean, I'm going to ask the panel about this one. How are you feeling about it, Patrick?
I mean, it's past due. It should have been there in the beginning. I really am not behind this whole opening lands before they're finished business. I just really don't like it. It looks fine. I like that they went a little bit the extra distance. It's not just a Target. It looks like a Disney store. So we were complaining about that with a lot of the stuff in Epcot. So I will give the bravos there. I did not get enough floor pictures. So I hope the Imagineers get on that next time to make sure I am thoroughly informed of what the floor is going to be made of and what it will look like. But you need more shade in that land. The store is fine, but I'm only hanging out there to not bake in the sun.
Well, honestly, I'm not sure that they didn't give us more information about this store because I feel like it's not much to be proud of. Yes, the interior looks cool, but it's still stuck in the back hallway of the Toy Story attraction, right? And so it's not its own brand new building out, you know, showing off. It's not the Al's Toy Barn that we were shown in the original concept art. So I think that's why Zach really didn't break out some like floor tile for us to show us what was going on, is because I think they were just like you were saying, like they were fixing an issue that, you know, they should have not had in the first place. They should have opened it up originally. This refreshment cooler was there before they shut it down, and so this was kind of like step one to making something that was legit before that happened. So I'm glad this is here. But Coach, what are your thoughts?
I enjoy that they force you to walk through it after the ride. That's something that before you would, a lot of times you'd get off the ride, just walk right past it, because it really was nothing special. And I think, to Patrick's point, you have a lot of different kind of merchandise carts around the land, and now it seems like they're selling that merchandise sort of in that store. Maybe not all of it, but my vote is to get rid of some of those merchandise stands and turn them into shade, because it is absolutely brutal. Like, you bake big time in that land. It doesn't matter what you're riding, your kids are going to want to go. And now that they're adding the drummers back and they're having them perform, people are going to be standing out in the heat just wearing it. So yeah, it's at least it's a step forward. They did something new, which was better than what they had before. So.
And you know, I think, you know, the joke is that every Disney attraction exits through a gift shop, right?
Right.
So I mean, that's cool, except for then they dump you out into this. This looks looks a little jinky. I don't know. Rob,
Wow.
Rob, what are your thoughts?
Yep. Outside of that hallway, it is exciting for them to see a new space, the gift shop, with so much detail. I mean, there's a lot of detail in there. It does look like that, you know, they had a great budget to kind of build it up. I do also say that they should eliminate some of the carts and do added some shading space. That's definitely something that we should do. You know, especially when you have small kids. I can imagine, you know, people getting so overheated that they'll be more likely to get into arguments. I think adding more shaded space is one thing that will help all around.
I mean, if you say so. I mean, if you really think we need shade there. I mean, there's a lot of things coming, and we've talked about it in the past. We've got the Woody's Backyard Barbecue is coming, and that should be coming 2022. And then we also have some expansion to the Woody's Lunchbox seating, and then of course we have the you know, this gift shop. But you know, when you stand there, and the line for Slinky Dog is always just immense, and they have all of these temporary like umbrellas that are lining the pathway up to there. At some point, shouldn't they say, yeah, let's just go ahead and put a roof on it? Like, how much would it, like, can we call a company that does carports and see how much it would cost to get that, like, a permanent thing all the way down there, at least for those folks who are standing in line for Slinky Dog, because that's a beating for that one.
Slinky Dog sponsored by carports. Don't give them ideas, Rob.
You know, I had a really good idea while we were talking about this. Not only is shade, but getting cool. When I used to go to festivals when I wasn't, you know, this age and have kids, they would always have these misting stations at festivals, and they were amazing. And if you're in Andy's backyard, how hard is it to set up like a sprinkler misting thing? Yeah, because you're in the backyard, a sprinkler, it would make perfect sense. Hire me. I'll stop saying bad things about the CEO, I swear.
No, you won't. Don't lie.
Definitely lying.
That's fine. That's fine. So let's move on to the Batuu Bounty Hunters, because we were talking about the Magicband Plus, and one of the things that we know is coming and is actually already in place are the Batuu Bounty Hunters, which is some kind of a little adventure that you're going to have walking around Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, which I know is something we've complained about in the past. The only thing that you could really do with the Play app was to go around and scan barcodes, and I think I remember us being on a thing before where I think it was Jason was saying, well, you go into Harry Potter land and you have a wand and you do the thing that you would do in Harry Potter by, you know, doing the spells. You're not doing the thing you would do in Star Wars here, but also the Play app was free and it was something anybody could do, and you still had something to do with the credits and the gamification that we were promised with this land. So this looks like it's a step closer to the gamification that we were promised originally, Rob. But this also looks like, until we get something out in Disneyland, that this is only going to be happening in Florida for now. So, you had mentioned to me earlier that your son is a big gamer. Is this something your family is excited about, or is it just something you might skip?
Yeah, this is something we probably would do one time, right? So if there wasn't too many people crowded around the RFID terminal, but I do think it takes a step back and begin to give us something, some of the things that they were promised when the park opened. So it's good. Maybe this is the first step of many more. Next, perhaps, maybe we'll get droids that are just walking around the park like they promised.
No, that's not going to happen. So they let cast members try this, and look how excited they were. They were like, "Oh my gosh, let me look over your shoulder, and I'll look over your shoulder," and they have like this human centipede thing happening. They're very excited to be able to check this out. But the point that you just made is something we ran into with Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom or with the Kim Possible, is that you get queued behind other people, and you don't want to see what the reveal is. And so, like, it doesn't look like there's a place here to hide that, Coach. I heard you say, yup. So, I mean, you've run into that before, it sounds like.
Yeah, I think it's a great example to show, like, because Sorcerers of Stone was just people were, there's that the law of diminishing returns, right? And this is something that, again, I don't know. It seems to me like maybe to go back to our previous conversation, maybe Star Wars Launch Bay is able to be incorporated with this. Maybe it's part of the thing where you have to walk back and forth as opposed to having it all be on Batuu. Maybe they can incorporate Star Wars Launch Bay, and maybe that would allow people. Yeah, I get it. You got to walk back and forth, and it sort of loses the immersion. But maybe you have to go and do the meet and greet with Chewbacca because you need to get him that code at the end, kind of thing. And maybe that's a way to control the crowd. I don't know. I just feel like there's a way to maybe do this a little bit better. This sounds like a really good idea on paper to me, but maybe not so much when they try to do it execution-wise. I hope that's not the case, but I'm worried that it's going to be around for a little while, and then it's going to sort of go away until they figure out how to do it better. So,
you're agreeing with that one, Patrick?
No.
Oh, Patrick, you're silent. You're freaking us out.
Took his breath away again.
Sorry, I am having the most difficulty today. I was thinking about how many Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom cards I have that I have absolutely no use for. And I'm going to buy a Magicband 2, Magicband Plus, whatever it's called, and I'm going to try and bounty hunt. But when does it go away? And now I have yet another accessory from Disney that I do not need. And Rob, really excellent point about the reveal being spoiled for everyone. I never thought of that when I was queuing up to play Sorcerers, because I was always like, well, it's my game, it's my card, something different will happen. But that's a really valid point.
Yeah, I think we try to make as many valid points as we can on this show, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of the plan. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, I love those little games and those little extra things that Disney throws in that don't cost extra. Obviously we have like the scavenger hunts that if you want the prize, you have to, pay for the map and then you go and you turn it in. There's that thing. But then there's also like, the Pirates adventure, which looks like it may or may not be coming back. And then you've got the DuckTales adventure, which we haven't heard if that, when that's coming. And then we've got, this one. So I hope those things happen. And I hope they stick around, but yeah, I mean, I love that it's something else that is something new to do when you go, new people eater, so that maybe those people spend their time over there, so I have to wait 5 minutes less in the rise line. All that kind of stuff works out when they do it. So I hope that they do. I hope it's a huge success, and I hope it's a lot of fun. We'll see. Do you remember, Patrick, I know you've been to Disney a lot. Do you remember that the Magic Kingdom used to have a train?
Well, Rob, I believe the year was 1942, and there was a train that ran around the Magic Kingdom. It's been a long time since we've seen that train because reasons. Yeah, Rob, I remember. I was recently in Disneyland and I saw their train, and my eyes just welled up with tears. Because because I was so excited for it to be back. Look at those happy cast members. Let's get this bad boy out on the track.
Yeah, but I think they were teasing us. I feel like we've been teased for too long here because we don't know when it's actually coming back. And, you know, when you look at the construction site for Tron, which is the reason that it's taking so long for the train to come back is for Tron. This don't look ready. This don't look ready to go. You know, they've got the tunnel in place. Yeah, they've got the tunnel in place. They've got the walls coming up. I don't know. I mean, I've said on this show many times that I had dreams of them taking all of the Universe of Energy dinosaurs and making something special here if they're going to take the train down for that long, where we get that, you know, that same diorama feel that they had at Disneyland, because that's kind of awesome that their train is plussed out that way and that they have remnants of the original 1964 World's Fair there. That's great. This is just disappointing because it doesn't look like we're going to get anything special, and also I don't know if it's going to open before Tron. But also, Rob, has anybody contacted you and told you when Tron's actually going to open? Because I still haven't heard.
I heard it's 2026.
26, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, 26.
Yeah,
you know,
that's
in reality. You know what it is. They're gonna look at their park attendance data. They're gonna look at their park reservations, and you know, whenever they have a dip, they'll open it. It's simple. This could have been done a long time ago, but with the 50th, there's been plenty of attendance, and there hasn't been a financial reason to launch the new ride, especially after they launched Rise of Resistance. Gosh, I can't even think straight. Since they asked,
Hold on, stop, take a breath. Do you mean Cosmic Rewind?
That is the ride that I mean.
Okay, cool.
Cosmic Rewind. There just hasn't been a financial reason for them to do it, so they'll slow it until they need the boost in attendance.
Yeah, I guess so. It's just, and I'm sure we will hear about it at D23, which happens September 9th through the 11th in Anaheim this year. I'm sure that they will tell us about it at that point. I really hope so, because it feels like it's been way too long since we've even seen, to your point earlier, Patrick, floor tile or anything announced about this, because it's just like, it's, I mean, you're right, Rob, it's going to come down to dollars and cents about when they feel like they need to open it, but I feel like I need it to be open now. So if we can somehow meet in the middle, that would be cool. That would be great. Let's talk about Victoria and Albert's, because I've never been. Yeah, I don't have that kind of cash money. Let's cut to somebody who does. Patrick,
like all right, no.
You've been, obviously.
I have been. It was one of the most amazing meals I've ever had in my entire life. It was just delicious, and man, does the refresh look good. I was so excited. It looks bright. It's such a nice space. Listen, treat yourself. Just once. Just once. Treat yourself. Go and do it. It's worth every single penny. And it's just stunning. Look how great that looks. That's what an upper-class restaurant in Walt Disney World should look like. Because we don't need the Disney touches in Victoria and Albert. We don't need characters in there, because it's you know, a very different experience than the rest of the park. Putting a suit on in Orlando was not my favorite thing, but what I ate was completely worth it. So yeah, man, it's such a nice space. Just going in there, I'm like smiling thinking about it, because I enjoyed it so much.
Are you saying that you can't come right out of the Florida heat in your tennis shoes and baseball cap and backpack and slip into Victoria and Albert's?
No, you cannot, and rightfully so. We need more spaces like that, where a little bit of civility will go a long way.
So this refresh is coming in. I mean, we've seen pictures of it now, but it's reopening July 28th. So this coming week, and a lot of people have kind of given pushback about all of the renovations that have been happening to the Grand Floridian. But to your point, I want to say Patrick. Yes. To your point, they have done a lot of character-driven stuff like the Enchanted Rose, and so this one is just a high-end refresh of a place that you pay a lot of money to go to, and it should be super nice. Rob and Coach, have either of you guys been to Victoria and Albert's before?
I'm actually planning to go in December when I'm there next time. I'm really excited about it. It's actually my welcome home stay for DVC, so we're going to be staying at the Grand Floridian, and I'm looking forward to giving it a shot. I really want to try that fancy water they have that's tapped once a year from an iceberg. Are you guys familiar with that?
Good. Yeah. Oh, the water.
It's only
and the
like
coffee.
$1,200 for a glass of water that's flown down. So we'll see.
Do you
Don't
do
you
you
judge
also
me.
do you also get a ticket to Skywalker Ranch if you buy that, or is that? Am I thinking of something different?
I think you have instead of stormtroopers, I think you have princesses that walk you out of at the end of your meal.
No characters. We were talking about that.
To answer your question, Rob, I have not eaten there because if I am forced to put on a suit in order to eat in a restaurant or to eat a meal, it's generally at a wedding. So I try to avoid wearing a suit as much as possible. That's why I coach college athletics. I wear a different type of uniform. But this is one of those things where it's just, if I try to take all four of us in there, I could either go on my Disney vacation or I can go to Victoria and Albert's.
I mean, I don't know much about it, but I'm pretty sure you don't take your kids when you go here.
No, there's no children there. We
Yeah.
do not bring children.
Not allowed.
No.
Listen,
Not
keep
allowed.
the riffraff out of Victoria and Albert's. Like, let me have a space where I can go, where I'm not worried about someone punching me in the face, and I can have a $1,200 glass of water. Why are you judging me in this way?
Hashtag 6 feet forever. Wow. Okay. Yeah, for sure, man. I don't know. Again, I do appreciate it. Now, we've talked to our good friend Shannon about this because she is, as I've said on multiple occasions, and she's admitted, bougie, that there are some very nice experiences that can be had at Disney World, and I do appreciate that. I feel like more so than Disneyland, Disney World has these things carved out, whether it's spa treatments
There's a Denny's by
or
Disneyland you can go to.
there's an IHOP too, dude. Why would you go to Denny's when you have IHOP? Think about it. Think before you say these things.
IHOP's international, man. Come on,
Yeah.
get with the program.
So, but I do like that there are these things. I just can't imagine. Like, I can't get my wife to agree to go to the Brown Derby, so I really don't think that I'm going to be able to get her to go to Victoria and Albert.
Oh.
So,
Rob, I got a great trick for you with this, and everybody could get it. You go and you just go and sit on the porch. It's a little bit cheaper, almost the same menu. There's a couple things you can't get, and it's the best people watching you can find in the parks. Just sit in the little alleyway there. We split a Cobb salad and usually like another appetizer and get a lot of drinks.
for a second, I thought you were talking about Victoria and Albert's again. I was like, what little alcove by Victoria and Albert's porch are you talking about?
No.
I don't think the word
They check
porch
your
and the word
credit score to
Victoria and
Victoria and
Albert's, I don't
Albert.
think they match at all. So, no, that makes sense. That tracks. So we were talking about that fight earlier. We were talking about, like, are there more of these than we thought there were in the past, or is it just that people are documenting them more? And I think that back in the day when Disney was really autonomous, they could hide a lot of things that they do, and they didn't have to be reported. And even if they were reported, they could get them buried on the back page of the Orlando Sentinel or wherever. I'm not saying that there was any kind of, tinfoil hat sort of a situation happening, but maybe. You don't know. But we saw that there was an injury report that was released that has to do with the Florida parks, specifically Walt Disney World and Universal Orlando, and it talks about injuries on attractions from April to June. Which, again, these are not things like the ride broke or like the thing went off the track, kind of like that huge thing that happened with Big Thunder years ago at Disneyland. These are just like injuries that happen to have happened on the attraction. And I remember when I was a cast member there, they were like, nobody dies at Disney World because they don't let you pronounce people there, and so they're all lifted to such and such a place where that happens. So they really have always in the past tried to keep this under wraps. And again, I mean, I don't think none of this stuff is Disney's fault. I don't think so. When I'm looking at this, and there was like a cardiac event on Living with the Land. If you've been on Living with the Land, it causes no cardiac event that I know of, unless
My heart swells a little.
That could be. Faintness aboard Star Tours. I get that. Motion sickness combined with loss of consciousness at Avatar. So they make this stuff.
Loss of consciousness thing, like I was reading through the report, the loss of consciousness thing I really relate to because before I got diagnosed, I have vestibular migraines that cause vertigo. And there was many times, one of my favorite attractions, Expedition Everest, where I would feel like I was about to black out on the ride. And it is not a fun feeling. So there was a lot of those at both parks. I was kind of surprised, like people just blacking out on the ride. You go limp and then it gets real dangerous.
Did you ever see, and I feel like maybe Family Guy or Modern Family kind of took off on this one, the guy who was in the like the big slingshot bungee thing, and it's like he was like, you know, trying to pretend like he's having a good time, and then he's like passed out, and then he like wakes up and he pretends like he's having a good time. That was actually based on something that happened to Coach. Coach, you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, if that's some great YouTube watching, by the way. To watch the slingshot videos of people passing out is pretty hilarious. No, this is a reality. It's a theme park, right? And I would actually be surprised to see the comparison between Universal and Disney. Universal with a lot more throw rides. But I also think it's kind of like you've got a lot of people that maybe won't necessarily go on rides, but sort of get taken on rides because, again, back to what we talked about before, come full circle. We're trying to get the most value and have the most quote-unquote fun for our vacation. And there will be people that grandparents and you know people of a certain generation that will want to ride with their grandkids or you know and not let them down, so to speak, and end up going on rides maybe they shouldn't go on or have an expectation of a ride. I know it happened with my wife when they were in Paris. My poor mother-in-law, she took her on Space Mountain, not realizing that Space Mountain in Paris is more like rocking roller coaster. And my poor wife spent the whole ride wondering if she had killed her mother on a ride in Paris. So you kind of have to know what you're walking into. I mean, those pictures are pretty funny, but it still gets brought up many years later. So you just have to know what you're getting yourself into. And again, I think there's that pressure to try to have that fun time. And I mean, this is the reality of running a theme park. So
yeah, talking about people of a specific generation, Rob, you have thoughts?
Oh yeah, you know, when you're almost 100 years old like me, you have to be careful whatever you go ride on. I could, you know, on Buzz Lightyear, I passed out before, had a cardiac event. But you know, I believe that they don't report anything unless someone will have to be hospitalized for over 24 hours. So you know, the fact that you see those on the list, you know, either they held them just to be extra safe, or they actually were very much injured. So the 24 hours, if you just had a sprain or even if you just passed out, typically they wouldn't hospitalize you. So they must be some pretty severe things that happen.
Yeah. And so, you know, again, this list is on our website, wdwnt.com. If you guys want to go take a look at it, it is there. Again, nothing that feels like it was a fault of Disney for any way, shape, or form. They certainly put up enough signs to say if you are pregnant, if you have back injuries, if you experience seizures, don't go on these attractions. And to Coach, to your point, I think a lot of times people get bullied onto the attraction. I know I try not to do that with my family, especially because a lot of them get motion sick. But at the same time, you want to try to make sure that they're having a good time and they experience the same things and don't feel like they're left out. So you may push them a little harder than you should have to get on the attraction. So just, again, the whole list is on our website if you want to take a look at it. Dude, where's my car? There's a car locator app in the app now, and you know what, it feels like something that they should have done a long time ago. The cool thing is that you can go in, you choose car locator, you have your location services on, and it'll remember where your car is. I mean, this is something that has come to Disney World, will be coming to Disneyland soon in the apps. Tells you, you know, what spot you're in, etc. You can manually put everything in if you're too far away from it, and I love that it kind of comes up with all the sections of parking in the app. So I mean, this looks like something that A, could have been done a while ago. B, looks super helpful because I've seen people, like, I don't usually lose track of my car. And then how many times have we all lost, like walked out, gotten off the tram, you remember trams, gotten off the tram and walked out, and like you hear people hitting their like car alarm because they want to try to figure out where the heck is my car. This seems like a pretty smart thing. Patrick, what do you think?
I agree with you. Feels like it could have been turned on ages ago, but what a very useful thing, and it's not something that costs money, and it's helpful. So I'm all for it. I think that's a great idea to have it. Anything that's going to end confusion a little bit and end that end of the night burnout, I think it's a good thing. I'm very proud of the company for doing something like this. Well done.
Yeah, I mean, it is sponsored. Like, they did make a buck on it, but at the same time,
is it really? I didn't see that in any of the pictures.
It's probably been ready for like several years. They were just waiting for a sponsor.
Yeah, it's like, hey, you know what? We need to get these people into something. What do you want to do? Well, let's what do we have? Oh, we got that car locator thing. Let's do that.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, wait a minute. Coach, are you the kind of guy that always knows where you parked, or do you take a picture of the sign as you're leaving?
I take a picture of the sign as I'm leaving. Something I've always done. But it's, to Patrick's point, it's real. Like, you're exhausted, you're tired. And not only that, if you're renting a car, it's one thing if you're driving your own car, right? But when you rent a car, you don't necessarily, you don't have a keen eye for that car that you've been driving for less than 24 hours. So the last time we were down there, we had a red SUV, and none of our SUVs are red. So it was kind of like I just found myself looking for my car until I realized, oh, I didn't drive here. We flew here and rented a car. So it's nice having that little touch. And again, anything that can end that confusion. We joked and had that parking lot tram run, but I saw someone last 2 trips we were there. There was an actual ambulance in the people from passing out, walking to their car in Hollywood Studios. So It is a real thing. So any extra steps you can save is definitely appreciated for sure.
Yeah, that's a good point about the rental car. I hadn't even occurred to me about that. Patrick, you were kidding, right, about the sponsorship and not seeing that it says presented by State Farm as big as possible here?
I literally went back and looked at it because I was like, what is Rob talking about?
Okay, just making sure.
I did not notice it. No, because I'm like, I looked at the article, I watched the video, I was like, oh, this is really cool. No clue.
Super subtle.
And then it's
super subtle.
Yeah, no, definitely. They could have just had Jake standing next to it. It would have been fine.
Which one?
Yeah.
The original or the upgrade?
I like the new one.
Okay. Well, like a good neighbor, they spent a lot of money to bring this tool to you. So anyway, let's move on to the next one, because I think this one is really going to be more in Robbie B's wheelhouse over here. Is that there's a $600 leather plush Mickey available from Coach at Walt Disney World. And if you know anything, we talked about being a completionist. Let's see. Okay, if each of these is $600, then I'm about to spend $2,400 on plush if I need. I can't get one. I can't get one. Rob, I'm sure they're the same way. How many are you prepared to buy?
Actually, you laugh, but I might get them all. I'm looking over at this window seal that I have, and that might be a cool thing to put up there.
You're like, what would really go great?
No judging.
Yeah. And maybe that's just me getting a little salty because I wish I could afford to spend $2,400 on plush. Like if I was, had unlimited funds, I'm not sure I'd do that one, Patrick. Would you? You're just nodding your head.
Go on one game show once. Who is the market for this? What is the demographic? Like, who was like, what I need? A leather Coach Mickey Mouse.
I like it.
That's after you go to Victoria and Albert's.
How dare you? Victoria and Albert's is an experience. This is a leather Mickey Mouse. I was in the Germany pavilion and my daughter was melting down, and I was like, let me get her stuffed animal real quick. And I picked up a handcrafted Mickey Mouse. I'm like, here. And the cast member kind of looked at me. He's like, you don't want to do that. I'm like, why? And she told me the tag. It was $75. Why? $600 Coach.
Okay. All right. Speaking of Coach, this is Donald and has your name on it. Coach.
I know, right? This is a challenge for me. I got my 50th Donald. He was, I think, $29.99 or $25. So I'll take that. I can't imagine what the eBay resellers are going to resell this for. I can't even begin to think of what that number is going to be. This may be one of those things that actually, down the road ends up actually being collectible from a value standpoint. I just, wow.
Yeah, no, you're
one of those
right.
things I'll never own.
Yep. Hey, Patrick, I found your Target demo. So that's who will have all of them, or probably already does. So
I think I could get away with just a Mickey.
I hope so many resellers get stuck with these. That would be the ultimate justice.
The thing I didn't dig into, and maybe y'all did because I just didn't have the time to really look into it, is do you get your discount? Because that's $120 off of this, right? Now we're all going, maybe it's not so bad. Maybe we should go ahead and buy one. So just wanted to mention a super chat from Brent Jordan, $1.99. Thank you so much. Jake from State Farm, WW ad when. So when is there going to be an ad? Who knows? But thank you for the super chat. We appreciate it.
Maybe new Jake can help old Jake find his car. That'd be sweet. That'd be cute.
Oh, that would be great. There's like, hey, my name's Jake too, and then it could start this whole multiverse. Oh, the State Farm multiverse, finally! No? Okay.
Nice
Nobody.
khakis, man.
Yeah. Let's talk about Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique. I put Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique bounces back just because I wanted to make it, a tongue twister and difficult to say. But the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique is coming back, is returning, and we've talked about that for a while. But one of the things that I thought was interesting is that they have this this new cast neutral. The gender neutral title. So instead of calling them fairy godmothers in training, they're going to be calling them fairy godmothers apprentices, which makes sense. I mean that there could be guys who are doing the the makeovers, and that definitely makes sense to me that they would do something like that. The other thing that we saw is that they have cast member previews scheduled before the reopening, and the reopening is scheduled for August 25th. My bigger question is, why does it take so long for this to come back, Coach?
I think it comes down to the actual cast members themselves. So we have actually booked an experience for my daughter, but not at the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique. Actually, a lot of the original cast members that were out of work started doing stuff on the side themselves at a substantially cheaper price, where they actually come to your Disney World hotel room or DVC suite and actually will give you that experience for your child at a fraction of the price. So a lot of them are making more money that way, from what I've been told. So I think that's part of it. I think it's a large part of it, to be honest with you. And I think the pent-up demand has not necessarily been there. So I think it's been a staffing issue. So that's, for probably a fourth of the price, my daughter's going to get a full experience with an actual cast member that used to work at Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique. So I think that's part of it, quite honestly.
Patrick, are you going to take your daughter to this, or are you a horrible dad?
I was planning on it, but I'm pretty sure it sold out like the second everything came available. My daughter's the perfect age for it. I'm really excited. What's really funny is we're talking about this bouncing back, and there's still so much that hasn't officially come back yet. And I'm wondering if this is all just staffing issues, or if it's some stuff that we're going to see significantly altered from what it used to be. But this is really great. I think it's good. I did not know about the thing Rob was talking about. I want the full experience, get her on in there and do it up. So that's it's a one-time only, and I'm a one kid family, so we just got to worry about her. We don't have to worry about any other ones.
Yep, I'm Rob. That's Coach. Coach was the one who mentioned that.
I'll take it.
Rob.
I mean,
Rob.
He had a 66% chance of being right. I mean,
there's another Rob. Yeah, exactly. There were two Robs, and you missed the boat on both of them. Way to go. How do you feel now? Yeah. Good. All right. Good. Let's jump over because
they'll crack down. You guys think they'll crack down on those old cast members who are doing the experience in hotels now?
I mean, how can they though? I mean, they're independent contractors
with a big rack of clothes or however they have to get all the outfits in there. I mean, I can imagine that it's not as visible.
Yeah, I mean, they could wheel in a suitcase too. You'd never know the difference. So
I
suppose they could.
But I get your point. Like, they're doing business on private property. So I mean, that does seem problematic. I get what you're saying.
As long as it's after I go in August, I'm cool with it.
Yeah, no, for sure. We need to make sure that coach's experience is taken care of. Let's talk about Jellyrolls though, because Jellyrolls is back nightly now. It's the same situation that we were just talking about with with cast. I mean, Patrick, do we think it's just because they didn't have enough people to keep this thing open, or do you think that they didn't think that they could get the crowds in?
Man, that's a really good question, Rob, and I'm not sure how to answer it. I love Jellyrolls. It's such a fantastic experience. It's one of the really authentically Disney, but also kind of adult feelings since Pleasure Island went away. Man, I would like to think that it's probably just they didn't think the demand was there rather than staff. There was a lot of people who were furloughed that I think would happily take their jobs back or maybe have accepted better paying jobs elsewhere. This is kind of what we're going to come up to when we're talking about anything coming back is going to be, well, how much is Disney willing to really pay good people to come in here and make good experiences versus Bob Chapek?
Yeah, no, I guess you are correct on that. But I guess, one of the things we talked to Pete Carney about last week on the episode was that he feels like that they kind of did their people dirty at this place,
Yeah.
the people who used to be there, and so that now they're just like, is it going to be the same vibe? One of the things I really appreciated about it, though, is the fact that it's actually open past like 11. There are so many things. It used to be like Pleasure Island, look it up kids, was open till like 2 a.m. I mean, there was something to do late at night. Now it's like when the
ESPN
parks
Club was open late too.
but when the parks close now, it's like you get back to your hotel, well, all of the amenities at your hotel are also closed. Which, again, if they don't want to get slammed when all those buses pull up to pop, they got to make sure that all of the, the food court and the gift shops are closed, which is kind of a bummer because I want to do more Disney. And I guess it's, probably goes back to staffing issues. But there are a lot of nights where things at Disney Springs close at 10 and 11 o'clock at night. And it's kind of a bummer because then you're there and you're like, I want to do more. I want to spend more of my money with you. And yet I can't do anything because, you've kind of taken all that away. So kind of a bummer. Let's move on to the pink water. So there was pink water last week at Disneyland. Apparently the pink tent was part of a water routine treatment, but Coach, would your kids be scared of seeing pink water on the Jungle Cruise?
I don't think so. I think it would just be kind of, oh, this is cool. And I mean, I would just spin it and say there was pixie dust or something. But yeah, I think it's like anything else. It's like you said before. We report if a sign changes or if a hedge moves a quarter of an inch. This is a little bit more obvious. But maybe they could have spun it into some sort of storyline. I don't know. But again, I don't know if it's much of an issue.
No, and it's not a big deal. But it's interesting to see it here because you can see the Jungle Cruise water from several different places, as opposed to like the Jungle Cruise at Disney World. It's a little bit more contained. But if you're like at the the little snack shop next to the water, or if you're over by Indiana Jones, you're seeing all this. But again, is this just a non-issue, Patrick? Am I just throwing this in here for no reason?
No, I honestly think they should do stuff like this for promotions. I think it would be fun. Pink River for October, green one for St. Patrick's Day. Why not?
Yeah. Okay. Rob, let's move on to this next thing, and I'm going to ask you about this.
Hold on. I have to say.
Nope. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
How can parents have missed the opportunity to tell their kids that pink is some small child who wasn't listening to their parents fell into the river and the alligators got them?
Because that happened for real recently, Rob. Too soon.
Did you see this?
And to behaving themselves at the park.
Oh.
Did you see this header I gave him this
Accurate
week?
Chiron.
Unpopular
Accurate
opinions offered. That's just too dark, man. I don't.
Too soon.
We need to. You're in the timeout corner, fella. All right, then I'm going to take this to somebody else. So, the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge is likely canceled for Disneyland Paris. Now, is that a big deal? I don't know, because they were only going to get kind of a truncated version of it, I think. They weren't going to get Rise. They were just going to get Black Spire Outpost and the Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. But, in this concept art you're looking at Disney Studios in Paris, you can see that over to the left is where they have Avengers Campus, which is just open. Over at the very end, they're making an Arendelle, which is still happening, and then over to the left there at the top, they were doing a Galaxy's Edge. So. You know what, Rob? I'm going to throw this back to you again. Do you think that they're making a mistake not putting this in? Because they haven't said they aren't doing it. They said that they may be looking at other properties.
I do think they are, because it's a little short-sighted. Maybe Star Wars isn't doing quite as well as they'd hoped to right now. But if you follow the long-term vision for Star Wars, there's so much in the new trilogies coming out, the new movies. So while it may not make as much sense today, I think 3, 4, 5 years from now, Star Wars is going to be even bigger than it is today, and it's going to be a huge loss for them.
Yep. Any thoughts on that one, Coach?
I mean, Paris isn't exactly known for making great decisions in terms of trying to change the park. I know when Tom was walking around his live stream just pointing out, like, this is the one park that needed something else, something different, something new. And it just, I don't think Paris is a lost cause, but the problem is it's Paris, right? People go to Paris to go to Paris. They don't go to Paris to go to the park. So I think you need to have something that's going to draw them in. This seems to be like, hey, this is kind of a huge franchise. We're going to keep making movies every year. Maybe we should go with that instead of a Frozen. Again, Frozen's huge, but are they going to make a bunch more Frozen movies? Probably. But you know you're going to make a bunch more Star Wars movies. So that would be the way I would lean towards it. Hopefully it's just them scaling back. You know, Frozen does really well, and then all of a sudden they decide, you know what, maybe we need to pull the trigger on Star Wars because they have some huge movie or something. And that's my hope anyway.
Okay. Well, let me move along real quick and talk about the, you just mentioned Tom was over there and he captured a bunch of stuff from Avengers Campus, which you can find on our website, wdwnt.com, and you can also see his unbiased review of the Avengers Campus at Disneyland Paris. But, he tried all the food. We have all the pictures of the merch. We have the Avengers Assemble Flight Force roller coaster. We've got some images of that. I love this sort of like Sword in the Stone thing where they, have kids come up and see if they're worthy to pick up the hammer.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, like why didn't we have that? I don't know. Here's Tom, flexing with his superhero friends over here. Here's this Hulkbuster costume with all this food at the Stark factory. I mean, again, they repurposed a lot of stuff to make this happen. They have the dance-off happening here, too. But
wow,
two things.
That is not a great Star-Lord.
Yeah, I've mentioned before
man,
the
Gamora's on point.
Yeah, the meet and greet that we had at the studios in Orlando, I referred to the guy as Star-Lord Steve because he didn't look like Star-Lord in the least, but it was really about the Groot meet and greet. But here, yeah, this guy with the mustache and everything, yeah, this is a little rough here.
That's brutal.
But two things I wanted to point out about this is, one, already they're running into issues where, like, we can't have nice things. We talked about this with Batuu Bounty Hunters. Like, are they going to eventually shut it down? As little kids running up the walls here, and for their safety, they're going to have to shut this down. You've already got this kid laying on the ground here. Wow. What a great parent over here laughing his butt off about the kid laying on the ground.
That's not my kid.
Right. And the other thing is that
I blame Ninja Warrior for this.
Okay, well, talk about that a little bit. So let me ask you this, Patrick, because again, we can't have nice things because things like this happen, they take them away. Should Disney have thought ahead on this, or is this really just the fault of they just underestimated how parents would be and kids would be?
Oh man, I don't know if this is something they should have considered beforehand. People wreck stuff. When I was in Paris, like for Disneyland Paris, it was one park that Walt Disney World's maintenance looks stellar in comparison. Like just decals peeling off of everything. Yet you have to start thinking that people are going to climb things if they look climbable and they're accessible. You have pyramids, people are going to climb it. You have a warped wall. People see Ninja Warrior, they're going to try and run up the warped wall. This is baffling that we have half of the nice things we have. Humanity's doomed. It's just, they got nothing else.
Rob?
The question is, where's the wedding ring guy? The guy who stepped in front of and stopped the proposal? We need that guy posted right there.
Well, they're not going to give him the Avengers Campus duty. He's in timeout somewhere.
He's under the castle with Maleficent.
He could have sprinted from out of nowhere and stopped that and stopped those pesky kids.
Pesky kids. Y'all are brutal tonight, by the way. Just putting that out there with the kid stuff.
I just wanted to add real quick. Can we stop releasing concept art? Just stop. There's absolutely no point to it. Nothing ever winds up how the concept art looks. And there's always stuff cut from it. You had to close an entire building in Epcot because of how badly you botched what you were going to give people. Stop giving them concept art. Universal doesn't give concept art. All of a sudden they're like, hey, this thing we're building, it's nothing. Oh, wait, Velocicoaster. Sorry.
What are you going to, they don't have a D23. What are they supposed to show at D23 if they don't have concept art, man?
It should just be the CEO coming out and apologizing for like an hour. Sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, you know what? The only other thing I was going to talk about Avengers Campus in Disneyland Paris was that they closed for capacity. I mean, it looks like the article that I read said that they're shutting down for capacity because there are too many guests enjoying the land. It doesn't look like they put a virtual queue system in the way they did for Galaxy's Edge here. Again, we have virtual queue for Web Slingers. I don't know that we had one for Avengers Campus when it opened up, but I know
there was one at launch, yeah.
Okay. So why didn't they do that here, Rob?
I think as bad as IT is in the U.S., it's probably even worse there. Just setting up the new line and getting the stanchions in place. The way it's set up would be very challenging to lock it off. They just weren't prepared.
Yeah. Well, the idea of just shutting it down when, again, I think, Patrick, maybe you said people aren't going necessarily to Paris to go to a park, but I would be. And if I went there and I was like, okay, the new big hotness is this Avengers Campus and I can't get in because you just shut it down and there was no opportunity for me to queue up or, that seems too much.
Is that like going to Hollywood Studios and not being able to ride rides? Seems like we've had this happen before.
You like that?
I was gonna.
No, I'm just comparing.
I was gonna say that feels like some of what the tension is at Walt Disney World is this. I can't do this. Look at those people paying to get past me. No one else is getting past me. I just legitimately, I don't think people care that much about Disneyland Paris. Like, I don't know a single DLP news story that has really made motion here.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I'd still like to go because there are still things like Crush's Coaster and things.
Oh, yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, that
it's
I
awesome.
would like to experience that I haven't experienced. So,
But the one thing about Disneyland Paris is that, it is maybe a 2-day park at best, right? There's just not enough attractions there. You're not going to book a trip to Disneyland Paris for a week. Chances are you're going to go to Paris and then you're going to tack on a couple days to go to Disneyland Paris. So they desperately needed this Avengers land, this Avengers Campus. And they're going to have to figure it out.
yeah, for sure. All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break and come back and just have a real quick recap conversation in our Pressing Issues segment about Disney's Animal Kingdom, and we hope you will join us. So stick around, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome to Disney Entertainment News Today from WDW News Today. I'm Rob Whiteside from WDWNT.com, and here now are the top Disney entertainment stories.
For the latest in Disney entertainment news, watch Disney Entertainment News Today, hosted by Rob Whiteside. From movies and series news to stage shows, books, video games, and more. New episodes drop every Tuesday on Unplanned Downtime. Welcome to News Today with Universal Parks News Today. I'm Tom Corliss. Here now the news.
Welcome back to ParksCenter and our Pressing Issues segment. Thank you guys again so much for being with us here. 9 p.m. Sunday nights on WDWNT TV is ParksCenter. We appreciate you guys being with us in the chat. We appreciate you guys joining us for this show each and every week. We have a lot of fun talking about the latest issues, concerns, news of the day with Disney parks around the world, and often we add Universal as well. So thank you guys so much for being with us. We appreciate it. One of the things that we also would ask is if you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe to WDWNT TV. For more great content, we have Disney Entertainment News Today. As you just saw, we have Deep in the Plus. This week we're going to be talking about the movie Enchanted. That's on Wednesday night at 9 p.m. And then Thursday nights is this Thursday is Return of News Tonight at 9 p.m. And then also Box Stand happens on Friday. So we hope that you join us for that programming. Make sure to subscribe to WDWNT TV for all that great stuff, and join us whenever you can. So Pressing Issues, we used to have a show called Pressing Issues, so we have combined a Pressing Issue talk within our ParksCenter every week. And one of the things that we want to talk about this week is a survey that came out. So the survey was about Animal Kingdom and asking about, are these attractions iconic, insensitive, or boring? That's a lot to take in, I feel like. But I want to ask, just to get a quick barometer, and we're going to have a very short segment here since I know we're going overtime here tonight, but let me start with each of you and ask you, if you had to rank 1 through 6 your top parks, your domestic parks, where would Animal Kingdom fall, Patrick?
I love Animal Kingdom. I think it'd probably fall behind the 2 Magic Kingdom parks, probably behind DCA now, and it's still ahead of Epcot, and it might be ahead of Hollywood Studios for me. Hollywood Studios is really just Batuu. Yeah, I love Animal Kingdom. It is a park where you can have fun passively. You don't need to be engaged in an attraction. You can walk around, you can see things, you can look at animals. So Animal Kingdom is one of my favorite places to hang out, and also amazing food.
So I have a challenge for that topic, but I want to get the vibe from the rest of the guys here. Rob, where do you rank it?
It is sadly for me at the very bottom of the list.
Yeah, I figured. I like that shirt change you did, buddy. Where'd you get that? CarouselProducts.com?
Amazing products from Carousel Products. Hotness.
That is a nice shirt. That is a nice shirt.
It is sharp.
And Coach, I think you got your hat from the same joint, CarouselProducts.com. But where would you rank DAC in your list?
I think it's not quite all the way at the bottom, but I'm with Patrick on that. I can kind of, having younger kids, Hollywood Studios is probably a little bit higher for me. But you've got Pandora, and that's a game changer. I think before Pandora, you were in a world of hurt. But I think there's different things to do at Animal Kingdom than any other park, whether it's Conservation Station or, there's different things you can do. It's 9,000 degrees there, but again, it's you have to. The Tree of Life is really cool. There's different things. I think it's a different experience than any other park. So I think on a Disney vacation, especially if you're doing a long stretch, a lot of days, I think Animal Kingdom, especially in a park hop situation, a lot of times you can get a lot of bang for your buck in a short amount of time, because people tend to kind of do it in the morning and then leave. So I think there's some benefit there, but I think you kind of have to leverage it properly. So.
Would you classify it as not a zoo? So you were saying earlier, Rob, you said something specific relating back to Pandora.
Yeah.
What did you say earlier before we got on?
It is the reason I think that most people go to the park, and that's sad. I went to Animal Kingdom opening week when it opened. Super excited about the park, and obviously it's grown quite a bit, but still, Pandora is what most people, I believe, most people go and spend time at the park for. I should back up. Perhaps your first time you go, you want to see the animals, but then in Florida heat, it gets so hot. You spend a lot of time looking for places that have air conditioning. There are some decent food places to eat in the area, which is great. But outside of that, it's just not an exciting park.
Let me just clarify. So you went to Disney's Animal Kingdom when it opened? I feel like you double dipped in that one. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was having this conversation with my daughter today about it because I said, where was this fall for you? And she said, honestly, for food, it's like last. And I went, wait a minute. So we got Satuli, we got Yak and Yeti, we got Rainforest Cafe, because you got to count that because that's attached, and that's an experience whether you love the food or hate it. It's an experience. And then we've got like the Yak and Yeti walk up. You've got Pizza Safari. You've got there are a lot of food. She's like, oh, okay. Like I feel like it's a better food offering list than Magic Kingdom, honestly. And
Definitely
maybe
better than Hollywood Studios.
Yeah, well, I don't know. We can talk about that another time. But something you were talking about earlier, Patrick, where you're like it's passive and you can go and look at things. I think a lot of people walk in and they see the big attractions, and maybe I think it could be the fault of the well-themed park. But I feel like a lot of things are so hidden that if you are a novice park goer, you walk in and you see the big Expedition Everest with the people screaming off top of it. You go, okay, there's a roller coaster I want to ride. You go into Pandora, you really have to look for where those attractions are. And then the same thing with like Kilimanjaro Safari's in the back there, and maybe you heard there's a safari, so you ask somebody. But it's kind of like when you go into the London section of Universal and you're like, I don't really know where Diagon Alley is because they've themed it so well, and you've got to go behind the wall to find it. I feel like, and fight me on this, Patrick, I feel like that the theming is so good that it makes it so that people don't really know where things are.
Man, that's a really good point about a lot of things at Disney World. Even going back to like the fight stuff, is people are woefully unprepared for their Disney World vacation. We do have a lot of people here who are multi-travelers, and we understand the privilege that comes with that. But like, you got to know what you're doing. Robbie B down there said that people come for Pandora. I don't think they do. I think people come for the Safari. I think Safari is the big ticket thing, and I think they'll maybe find Pandora or they'll hear about the Lion King show. But Rob Whiteside, great point that it's well themed, so everything's looked to blend in and be immersive. Yeah. So I'm a seasoned traveler, and I cannot find for the life of me the entrance to Na'vi River Journey ever.
Well, but
I'm like, where does this thing go? I keep missing it.
But here's
Lucky
the thing
for you.
Stop it. Stop it.
Overrated.
Coach.
Terrible.
Coach. No, we're not going to do that. We're not trashing Na'vi River Journey. That's not why we're here. But I think that, Patrick, to your point also, is when you walk into the Oasis, and again, people know where Tomorrowland is, people know where Adventureland is. Do you know it's the Oasis when you walk in? Do you know it's Discovery Island when you take that step over to where the Tree of Life is? Do you know that you can walk around the tree? But when you walk into the Oasis and then walk up to the tree and then walk around, there's so many animals that this is the area where, if you can show little kids like, hey, here's some animals and we can see them in almost a very natural habitat, then like that's a cool thing. And you could spend almost, an hour, 2 hours just walking around looking at just the animal exhibits that are there. But I think people just scooch past them because they're used to maybe that Six Flags mentality where it's like, where's the roller coaster? Where's the dinosaur thrill ride? Where's the spinning triceratops? When's the Nemo show? And what the heck with those kites? So when you're going around and trying to figure out like what's happening there, I think they make it so well themed. I think it's a beautiful park, absolutely beautiful. But when you look at this map, there's so much stuff on here. I don't know that you know where those attractions are. They used to have the Mickey's Jam and Jungle Parade, which filled up the streets and made it super hard to get anywhere, but it was fun. It brought a lot of kinetic energy to that park that's not there. You do see Divine sometimes when you're walking in. That's a cool thing. If you're able to catch Divine, it's a great character interaction. But I feel like they need to have more of that. They've tried their best to install wilderness explorers and things like that. So, Coach, I'm going to ask you, with your kids, do they love it? Do you have to make them love it by pointing out stuff? Like, what's your experience with like taking small children in there?
They really like the gorillas, mainly because if you go to the gorilla exhibit, the silverbacks, I forget the name of the old guy. He is a grumpy old gorilla, and I love him. But it's definitely it's a challenge getting around. Like I have been there many times, and I'm still like, where is that? What are we? And I feel like I try to prepare myself, but I never seem to take the right turn. I always go right when I'm supposed to go left, or It really is an immersive experience, but to a fault. I think that we talked about signs earlier. This is a place that could probably use more of them in a way to direct people, in a little bit clearer way. It's kind of like, I got to go through Asia to get to Africa, but if I take this way, then I miss Flaming Tree Barbecue, and I don't know how to. So it really is confusing. And I said this to my wife last time we were there. I felt like I was sort of in like a mall situation where like I needed to get down to the bottom floor, but the escalators were purposely designed to be all the way on the other end, so I had to walk past a bunch of stores to be able to get down to the first level. So I don't know if it's just if it's designed that way, or they just really didn't think it out and they said, well, because even when people are rushing to get on Pandora, it's like people don't know where to go, and cast members are like, no, the line's that way, and people are going, no, it's that way. And to Patrick's point, like, you don't like. I know you can walk under the Tree of Life. I still don't know how to get to that path. I always have to ask somebody, like, how do I get to the thing? And they're like, well, you got to go this way. And usually I have to ask multiple cast members. It's quite
it's a neat walk. It absolutely is a neat walk, and I think most people
walk.
do not experience it because they don't know what they're doing. So again, love it what you said, Patrick, about it being a passive experience and be able to go and like sit down in that otter cave and watch them for a little while, and that's neat. Or to be able to go over and and see the kangaroos in front of the tree, or to walk around it. All that stuff is really neat, but I just think that probably people look at this, and I think a lot of people look at Disney in general like this and go, let me go in and ride the roller coasters and leave, and I didn't really have a great time. So if you're like us and our fans who watch this show, you get that there's a lot of goodness there. And there have been times where Animal Kingdom was up there like in my top parks. I'm not sure it is right now, but there are some things that I love there. I love Satuli, and we talked about, I know, Coach, you said Flame Tree. I forgot about Flame Tree because usually I'm either going to eat at Satuli or Yak and Yeti. I don't have time for Flame Tree. Not that there's always a line. I always think it's probably a good choice. I didn't even mention Starbucks or some of the Joffrey stations that are around there, or the, somebody mentioned Tiffin's, of course. But there's a
Marketplace.
Yeah, there's a lot of good food. And Tusker House. Tusker House was always my favorite character breakfast, and
It's
the
such a
choices
good
that they had there.
breakfast.
Yeah, and so, go ahead.
It's also the best background music of any park, man. There's such distinct background music in every section. One of my favorite moments of my last trip was we just had a long day, and we decided to just go to Animal Kingdom at the end of the day. We got on the last safari, and then as things were closing up, we just kind of sat there in the middle and just took in the sights and sounds, and it was really just peaceful. And sometimes, like we're talking about, you need those few, the Daily Show used to call it the moment of Zen.
Right.
That you need to kind of center yourself.
Well, and before Pandora, it used to close pretty early, like 5 o'clock. The park would close, and so it was almost like a half-day park. And then when Pandora opened, and they were like, okay, we need some nighttime offerings, and they did the Tree of Life Awakenings, and they did the Sunset Safari, and some of that other stuff. It's like, okay, now you've created, and the Rivers of Light, R.I.P. There were other things that they opened up that made it really cool, but.
Chance.
But they keep taking things away at this point now. Like they took away the, we talked about the parade. The parade hasn't been there forever. They took away the Primeval Whirl, which is fine, but like give us something else there other than some benches and fans. And then and there's no cover. Like you guys have all talked about how hot it is. There's no cover. I guess the other thing that I want to kind of full circle on, and Rob B, I want to ask you about this is Beastly Kingdom. Did we do okay since Beastly Kingdom never happened, replacing it with Pandora?
Well, I think Pandora is definitely the most exciting thing that's in the park. But going back to the ambiance piece, you can't really experience the ambiance or when it's 95 degrees and 100% humidity for a significant amount of the year, right? So it is a great park. It's a great visit for the first time you go. You probably do spend time looking at the animals. A bug's life, the Tree of Life is a waste. And then it seems like the new Pandora rides or land is like the saving grace of the park. And just to be transparent, when I go, I typically walk around the park for a while. I'll get some food. I'll go to Pandora, and then I'm out of there.
Did I just hear you throw hate at It's Tough to Be a Bug?
Yeah, it's a fantastic attraction. I don't know what you're talking about.
No,
Terrifies adults and children alike.
I like that attraction, but there are a lot of attractions that we do once, and we talked about this on a different episode at ParksCenter about what your one and done, and Coach was in chat and spamming us about Navi River Journey and getting everybody all upset. But there are some things there, like I love that the Maharaja Jungle Trek exists. I love that the Gorilla Falls Jungle or Walk exists, but I don't want to do them every time. I don't want them to go away. But I don't want to do them every time. And the same thing with It's Tough to Be a Bug. The same thing with the Nemo show. The same thing. Like, these are things, the Festival of the Lion King. I love that they're there. I don't want them to go anywhere. But that's not on my must-do list every time. I always have to do Kilimanjaro Safari. I always have to do, I like Navi River Journey. I do. Sorry. And
Good
then,
attraction.
Flight of Passage. If I could do,
too short.
if I could do Flight of Passage and it wouldn't take me 90% of my day, then yeah, I'm going to do that. And then Dinosaur is a solid attraction. I love that attraction when it's up. It's been down a lot recently, but I love that attraction. I wish there was more in Dino Land, because when my kids were little, doing the Dino Dig was something that they loved so much. They always look forward to doing that. All that, you were talking about soundtrack, like Everybody Walk the Dinosaur. Come on, Was Not Was, beautiful. And then you have like that enclosed theater for Nemo. I love the Nemo show. Expedition Everest is one that I can kind of take it or leave it. Kali I hardly ever do, because you just get so soaked on it.
Don't want to be wet.
Yeah, that's the thing. I love that, again, love that it's there. But Conservation Station takes too long to get there. I wish you could walk and didn't have to do the T-train to Conservation Station. And at the same time, I feel like we're missing the boat in not having a hidden Zootopia land up there. Again, don't mess up the aesthetic. Don't mess up the vibe that we have. But let's put it somewhere where we can do it, and then little kids can have a good time up, in there. And when I say little kids, I mean me. I would love there to be a Zootopia land. I think that would be fantastic. I really love that movie. But the safari I always have to do. It's always different. It's always fun. But again, there needs to be more there, right, Patrick?
I don't know if there needs to be more there. I do want to take umbrage with what Rob said. Everybody talks about Animal Kingdom is this hot park. It's so hot. There's so much shade. You people go to Epcot, walk around a mile loop where there's nothing but sun beating down on you, where there's not a bathroom in every single pavilion, and drink around the world and have the best time while you're baking in the sun. But you can't go experience some animals for 5 minutes because it's too hot.
But there's a big A lake in the middle of that, and water is supposed to make things feel cooler.
Oh, it's supposed to, but it's still, there's no cover. And how
I don't
do
disagree.
We still not have bathrooms in every pavilion at Epcot? Animal Kingdom has amazing bathrooms. That's another place I'll go to bat for. They're always super clean. I think people get this idea of what Animal Kingdom is and what they want it to be. And it's probably not what most people want it to be. But for what it is, it's incredibly good.
Does it need a festival? I don't know. You were kind of talking some hate towards Epcot. I think Epcot's coming into its own finally. Guardians may be my favorite attraction. I don't know. I'm feeling Epcot these days.
Give me Journey of Water and open that section of the park up, and I might show the love to Epcot again.
Okay. All right. Well, we definitely ran over time on this, but I felt like it was worth having this conversation because I think there's a lot that Disney's Animal Kingdom has to offer. I don't see it as a broken park. I love everything you guys said about it, about the experiences that there are to have there. I just think, and I think to Rob B's point, the fact that Pandora is there is a game changer for that, and they knew it. They knew it needed something, and they spent a lot of money. They spared no expense on Pandora. Pandora is fantastic. There could have been a longer ride for Navi or some more animatronics in Navi.
Little expense was
little expense. But Satuli may be one of the strongest counter service restaurants that I've been to. The Pongu Pongu, I love those drinks there. I mean, I think they've done an amazing job with that. Wind Traders is a fun little shop to go into. The drums that are out there, the paths to walk through, the little little lake beds that you have, the feels alive, the floating mountains. That's just the majesty of walking in and seeing that, and it takes your breath away. I think there's a lot that it has to offer in general, but if you're going to Animal Kingdom, or if you, I don't know, I guess my thing would be, and I want to get final thoughts from each of you guys, and we'll start with you, Coach, but my thing would be give it the next time you go to Animal Kingdom, really kind of get into it. Like, really kind of take a look at all of the offerings. Try food that you haven't tried before. Don't go to the same restaurant every time. There are a lot of neat offerings there. I say that, and I still go to Satuli every freaking time. But there are a lot of things to try, and just hang out with the animals in the Oasis, because you're talking about, like, cover. There is shade there. And so it is a neat place to go and do and see. So, Coach, what are your kind of final thoughts on that?
I would say, kind of, for me, like, it's tough to go to start the park there. I think to Patrick's point, it's a great park to hop to. Generally, the lines are a lot shorter. It does tend to cool off a little bit, but there's a lot of different unique experiences that you can have, right? You can go through and do some of the walking trails, and I know some of the best experiences we've had have been with the kids going through the animal exhibits. Like, Daddy, did you see that gorilla? Just yell at the other one, and like, there's a lot of really cool experiences that are unique to that park, and I would say unique to a lot of different parks, right? It's not just a zoo, right? It really is a fully experience, and there is a lot of, the Tree of Life is really cool. There's a lot to it. If you've never seen it, there's some really cool pictures, especially at night. Pandora at night's amazing. We had done an extra night, my wife and I, a few years back, and it was amazing. Pandora at night is just so cool, and so there's that would be my recommendation for you if you haven't seen Animal Kingdom at night. It's a lot different experience, and I would say better experience, especially in Pandora.
Okay, very cool. Rob?
You know what? You've convinced me. On my next trip, it won't be until December, unfortunately. I'm going to take a day, and I'm just going to spend it, probably 3/4 of a day. And I'm just going to try to re-experience Animal Kingdom and see if I can reignite my passion for the amazing park that I'm sure that it is.
I hope you're being serious, dude. Anyway.
I really am.
Okay.
I actually am.
Patrick?
It's a great park at Christmas time. Especially if they bring the little puppets back. Why can't I think of their name?
Merry Menagerie.
I love Animal Kingdom. Merry Menagerie, thank you. Give Animal Kingdom a chance. And honestly, this whole thing, take some time out of your vacation to do something slow, to do something enjoyable. If you just keep go, you're only going to think about the money you're spending and the value you're getting for it. If you just take some time just to be slow and just enjoy where you are and be in the moment. I think that's one of the worst things that's happened with all of our connectivity with cell phones and the parks, is that it's harder and harder to leave them back at the room. But, man, Animal Kingdom is my favorite place to get a drink and get lost for a little bit of time. There's great bars. There's great food. There's a lot to look at. There's, such good sweet treats, too. Zuri's. Go to Zuri's. Get something good.
Okay. So, again, I think everybody makes some great points. I would love if Rob can go and do that 3/4 of a day. He almost committed to a whole day, and he was like, 3/4 of a day.
That was really good. That was
and
well done.
and maybe we'll have him report back on that for us. But I agree with you, Patrick, that they've really kind of plussed it out for Christmas. That's kind of fun. But again, it's Coach said, it's a unique park. I've never been to Tokyo Sea, but I think that other than Tokyo Sea, this is probably the most unique park, because there aren't. The Tough to Be a Bug used to be a California Adventure. Now it's not. It's very unique. Everything that's there, except for the Rainforest Cafe. There's one at Disney Springs. Other than that, everything else is very unique to this park. There's not another Yak and Yeti in the world. Landry's owns a bunch of restaurants. There's not another one. So there is a lot of unique stuff at this park. The Finding Nemo show, just things that aren't anywhere else, and I think that makes it a great thing. Rob, I hope you go and you have a wild time. But
you gotta see Gino. That's the gorilla's name. Gino. I forgot. It's Gino. He's like, I think 43.
I just looked at it.
Okay. And again, don't forget to subscribe to WDWNT for lots of great content. We got, again, lots of copies or shows from Deep in the Plus, Disney Entertainment News Today, ParksCenter, and more. If you want to go back and catch last week's ParksCenter, Mr. Pete Carney made a surprise appearance. I had to book him like 7 months in advance, so I'm not really sure it was a surprise to me, but hopefully to everybody else. Also, carouselproducts.com, if you want to see that really cool shirt that Rob's wearing and flexing over there, that is available on carouselproducts.com, along with some other great merch. We still have these Space Angel shirts, which I love very much, and the Sunny Clip shirts and a whole bunch of cool stuff. And we make stuff that we like, so we hope you guys like it too. Nobody bought tickets to that gun show. Nobody. But thank you guys so much for being here tonight. You guys on the panel for putting up with me and giving your time. I really appreciate it. You guys for watching. I know, what is that? Watching from home. Again, next week we'll be here next Sunday night at 9 p.m. We will be talking a little bit about the new Magic Band once it comes out, and we have the chance to kick the tires on it a little bit more. Also, one last thing. We love our wigs. WIGS members are the best members. The WIGS is WDWNT's Interglobe Society. That's our Patreon program. Thank you guys so much for being WIGS. There is a post show for our WIGS members.
Hey, Rob, one quick thing. I just want to give a quick shout out. We love our cast members. When I was at the Contemporary, Virginia, who works the front desk at Ginny from the Bronx, New York, was an absolute sweetheart. She got us in early. Be nice to cast members. She's actually about to celebrate 15 years with the company. So I'm sure Virginia's watching. Thank you, Virginia. You're amazing. You got your cast member compliment. Her daughter also works in guest services. So I told her I'd shout her out because she's awesome. And she loves the show, Rob. So there you go. We love you, Virginia. Thanks for being awesome.
Virginia, thank you. And thank you guys for being on. And again, we appreciate you. Hope you have a great week. And we will see you next time. Again, make sure to join us for all the great programming we have on WDWNT-TV. And have a great night. Have a great week. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, everybody.
Oh, no.